Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the session organized by Verónica Arroyo, a keynote called Freedom of Expression, Content Moderation, and Misinformation. Verónica, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. I want to know if I can, yeah, sure. Thank you very much for the screen. Okay, can we go to the next? Exactly. Thank you very much, Aileen. I'm deeply happy to be here with all of you. Really happy that this is the first time that YouthLACIGF has sessions in English. I think this is very important. Do you hear me well? This is first of all, I have to. It's all good?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. So I was saying that I was very happy that for the first time the YouthLACIGF has sessions in English. This is hi everyone. Now you can see me. And I was saying that I was very happy because this is like an example how the youth observatory has been growing. And I don't know if this recording will stay live, but if it does, I want to say a big hello to all the countries mainly in the Caribbean that are English-speaking countries, namely Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Saint Kitts and Nevis, Saint Lucia, Saint Vincent and Grenadines, Turks and Caicos Islands. So I think that we have a bunch of lists of countries that are English-speaking countries, and this type of sessions in English are for them. Well, we can go to the next slide, please. Great. So the agenda for this 28 minutes, I think, that I have left. I mainly want to focus on three specific things. I've been asked to talk a little bit about my journey, and then we will move to content governance, understand what it means, why does it matter, and we'll have also some time for questions and quick answers for sure. Let's go to the next one, please. So I want you to think about what happened 4 years ago, which was the year when everything started, at least for me. So 4 years ago, I was, it was the same for me. So it was my first YouthLACIGF, the first big event on internet governance. I was brand new, I was a newbie on this world, and I didn't understand much what was happening. As some people that are here that now belong to the Youth Observatory, everything started with a fellowship. It's the same for me. It was the same for me. Everything started with the fellowships. A friend just told me, like, hey, this is this YouthLACIGF initiative, and they are given fellowships so people can go and attend. And in 2016, the YouthLACIGF was like the first main event for youths in Latin America, and that is the cohort that attended the main YouthLACIGF. I'm very happy to see all those faces and see how much we have evolved since that particular moment. And as you know, the promise was to attend the YouthLACIGF the day on day 0, and then attend all the entire LACIGF, which is also the second event for Latin America and the Caribbean. So at that moment, I didn't understand much. I have to be very sincere. I took law lessons, so I am a lawyer, and soon to be a lawyer in a more formal way to say. And I had like more a traditional education on law, and I didn't have like courses or specific seminars on internet or how internet works or why it matters to us or the infrastructure, things like that. I knew something about data protection because I participated in a moot court competition, and that was the principal, issue of the case. But then I knew something about media law again, because I took a seminar, but media involves radio, involves television, and not just internet. I knew something about digital rights because I did summer school in Spain, and one day the teacher just told us, okay, this is something called digital rights, and I said, okay, fine. But that was all. So I was lost. I mean, I saw all these people talking about many things and many issues, and they seemed very, very involved. And for me, that was kind of amazing. And what changed it, what was that truly change factor for me was my curiosity. So I was deeply interested on those debates. I was deeply interested in why these things are so important in our community. And I keep, doing a lot of talking with people and understanding what was happening. And I think my main motivation was that curiosity. And I was curiosity-driven person. And I'm still that kind of person right now. So can we go to the next slide, please? So this is I was thinking about my journey, and I was thinking about how this process was, or how is, because it's still a process right now. I'm still living this process. But what helped me at that moment? I told you that I didn't know much. I had a lot of curiosity about the topics, but what helped me was those three factors. These three factors really helped me. So on the LACIGF mainly, I encourage myself. I put myself pressure to participate. So I said, hey, let's participate, because it's easier. You always have this question and answers part after every session, where you can go there, raise your hands, and ask a question, or just say something that you believe it's important. You don't need to feel that you will be, judged or not, because nobody judges you there. Every opinion matters. Not just the decision makers are the ones who rule the game. You also rule the game, and I'm sure that all the decision makers are really keen to hear your opinion. So for me, that was clearly important. At that moment, we were all the youth in that space were like, yes, we need to participate to make our voice heard. And well, I was one of them, and I participated a lot. That's a great way also to highlight, to shine among all the people. And a second factor is to interact and meet. I know that we are in an online moment, and everything is online, and sometimes it's difficult, but we always have a chat box on the corner of of our screen, and we can go there and chat with someone, meet with someone, ask questions. And I think that's important, because you need to start growing your own network. A second issue for me was to learn, because as I'm saying, I was very I was a newbie, and I didn't know many things. I'm still learning until now. And I've always carried with me a notebook, and this notebook helps me to write my stuff, write things that I feel that are important, or things that I don't understand. And later, like weeks later or a year later, you can go back and check those ideas. And this is a constant process. And I think that is really, really good. But I want to keep this conversation moving. So the next slide, please. Okay, what happened after the YouthLACIGF? So that was the first big event for me, and then I participate on the LACIGF as well. But what happened next? Like, what happened between that happened 4 years ago, and now we are 2020. So many things has happened during those years, but mainly I kept applying to fellowships. As most of the people that I know, you need to apply, and you will get one, and one positive answer at some point. And in that way, I participated on many fellowships. And what is really key about those fellowships are that you have the chance to learn, you have the chance to participate, you have the chance to interact with people that are with the same as you are. I mean, our students or early early career, in their early career moment, and it's very interesting. And you have all the support of the institutions. For example, I participated in the Internet Society Youth Program, which now is called Internet Society Youth Ambassadors Program, or something like that. And you have the whole institution of Internet Society there for you. Also, I did the same for ICANN. ICANN has also a very, very great group of people that is always behind you, you're supporting you. And that's interesting. So you are not by yourself. So that's my big recommendation. But after, participating on those fellowships and doing all this type of work, and starting to do, my own initiatives and working with other friends on other initiatives, I decided to switch things and to take an important decision in my life, because up until that moment, I was, pursuing the traditional career of a lawyer. I finished law school, and then I started to work in a law firm, doing like traditional lawyer stuff. A couple of things were kind of related to internet, but I was not working 100% of my time on internet. And I decided I needed to do a switch. I need to change something. And that's when I decided to apply for an internship at Access Now. Can we go to the next one, please? And Access Now, at the beginning, I was not conscious. I was very, I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to get it. This is like a big thing. I mean, Access Now is a big organization, but I had good friends and I had good people next to me saying, "Hey, let's take this opportunity. Let's do it." And that's how I applied for an internship. And nowadays I'm policy associate at Access Now, so I do policy work, which is mainly analyzing laws and promoting things and arguing with governments, arguing with with companies. And Access Now today has been working more for 10 years. For the past 10 years, has been doing a lot of amazing work. Our main goal is to defend and extend the digital rights of users at risk. And yeah, you can go click the next one. Okay, and our work focuses mainly on this issue areas. We do more work, obviously, but those are the 5 main areas. We do freedom of expression, privacy, digital security, business and human rights, net neutrality. And we have a lot of things to do. We do policy. I mean, I come from policy, but we also have people from advocacy, from our security helpline with us digital security. We have people doing litigation, and there are many people. There are like 60 people at Access Now right now. We can go to the next one. So we're going to talk about the first point that I would say, freedom of expression. So this moment is to talk about content governance, because this keynote is about content governance, and let's talk about this. And when sometimes we are like, what content governance means, or what it is, or you keep thinking this. Sometimes it sounds difficult, because again, the word content, we understand what content means, but when we talk about governance, sometimes we get a lot of things on our head, because this can be related to government or not, or maybe yes or not. Even the name of this event is YouthLACIGF, and IGF stands for Internet Governance Forum. So again, the word governance. So to understand better, I want to start with an example. So we can go to the next slide to talk about the example, please. So this is a very, very recent example, and I know that this is something that is happening not in our region, not here, but it's happening in Egypt. But I think it's a very great example to understand why content governance is important, and to do a little introduction here. So in April this year, 3 girls, young people such as us, they got arrested by the Egyptian government, by the police, and they were They were charged for, and they were arrested because, according to the police, they were violating the Egyptian values, family values. Their activity was inciting morality. But what were they doing? They were uploading TikToks. I mean, videos, those short videos that we all know if we use TikTok. Okay, they were uploading videos there and on TikTok, in TikTok. And the government didn't like those videos, and they decided, okay, let's arrest them. 2 months later, they sentenced them, and for 2 years to 2 years prison and a fine that is nearly $19,000. If you want to check the TikToks that they upload, you can go and see in our website this the press release that we wrote about this issue, and you're gonna find a little link to the videos and what they uploaded. This is one case very close to us because some of us use TikTok. We are youth. We like to post things. We don't want to get arrested, right? But this ideas opens a bunch of conversations if this activity, I mean, what the girls did was good, was bad, was moral, immoral. Is it good to put people in jail for just uploading content? Does TikTok needed to do something? Are they responsible of keeping the content online, or what is, like, who is, what is happening here? And you can get lost here, but this is a great example. I'm gonna go back to this example later. And to understand what is behind all these problems and those because we're gonna see this type of problems in news, on the news, on videos, on conversation. You're gonna see this kind of issues during the YouthLACIGF, on the discussions. But let's take a step back and understand why this type of cases are discussed in these conferences. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay. Why this all matters? Because why it's important? Because this is something that we call like digital rights or human rights. But on the case of the Egyptian girls, what they are doing at the moment of uploading content and putting all those TikToks there, what they are doing are exercising their freedom of expression, which is a right that we all have. And this right entitles us to express ourselves, inform people, receive information, and it's like a bilateral issue of giving information, receiving information. That's that thing. And freedom of expression is a right that has been on the Universal Declaration for Human Rights for so long, and it has been before that for so long. And it's a right that we all understand. And nowadays that we talk about things that are happening online, such as the case of these girls in Egypt, sometimes we understand that those are not related because they happen on internet. But what I want to make very clear is that it doesn't, I mean, anything that has happened on internet, it's like similar to what's happening outside it. So when we talk about like freedom of expression as a human right, with all the declaration and all the international documents and principles and many things, all of those things apply to the internet as well. What you are just changing is the space. Something like happened with a newspaper or whatever, it's here in this life, but online is the same. So we don't have differences, and you can apply the regular, the ideas that you have for human rights to the digital rights space. So that's one thing that I want you to have on mind. Yeah, and we can go to the next one. And now that we have in our minds that freedom of expression online is the same as freedom of expression offline, the next step is to understand the governance part. Because as we said, we are going to talk about content governance. And when we talk about governance, which is that tricky word, we have to understand that governance means that everyone is discussing and working to make something better about something. In the case of internet governance, all of these people that you can see on your screen, like governments, users, academic, technologies, platforms, international organizations, all of them are discussing, working towards a better internet in the case of internet governance. When we talk about content, we're talking about a specific part of this entire universe. And can we go to the next one? And in this a small universe, like a mini universe from the big one, the two relevant actors are governments and platforms. Governments are relevant because they have, well, not just the capacity, but they do regulation. They put laws on place. They put regulation on place, and governments decide what type of content is illegal and what type of content is not legal. Is legal, sorry. And they decide about our behavior outside internet and on internet. In the case of platforms, we talk about self-regulation because they self-regulate what the things that happens in their platforms, and they do it with the terms of services. You can go there and check it if you have time. Sometimes those are really, really, really big documents, but that's how it is. So they put the rules there on how people can behave in the platforms, and they say what kind of content is desirable or undesirable. In one case, we have illegal and illegal content. In the case of self-regulation, we have undesirable content. And sometimes that undesirable content is really is kind of the same of the illegal content that the governments decide. And then we have another structure, which is called co-regulation, where governments and platforms work together. But it truly means this in life. It means that it's a kind of a self-regulation, but very monitored by the governments, or really encouraged by the governments. And a clear example of a co-regulation structure is our codes of conduct or agreements that are in place. So those are like the spaces where policy people, such as me, work. So sometimes we go to and see what governments are doing. So they are, some legislators, and by I mean governments, I mean like legislators and executive power, activities as well. So you have legislators proposing bills to censor some content or to criminalize some content as well. Or then we go to platforms and say why they're taking down content, where they are, allowing this type of content. And we also see co-regulation when we review code of conduct, or when we analyze those big agreements, such as the Christchurch call to eliminate terrorism, violent and extremist content. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay, and what do they regulate? Because I was kind of saying some examples of the regulation, some things that they were doing. Well, they regulate different type of content. And here we have such a list of types of content that they might regulate. They regulate misinformation, which means information that is not true. Hate speech, very, very close to that. Sorry, hate speech, which means that kind of content or speech that is against certain specific groups of people, very close to discrimination. Then sometimes they will rule, or they will put rules against in favor of morality activities, such as the first example that we saw from the girls in Egypt. According to the government, that content, those videos are not moral. They are not, for me at least, I can say, okay, it's not moral, but maybe for them that's important. So that's an issue. Another type of content that can be regulated are copyright content, and sometimes they take down, that's in the case of platforms, they take down content because it violates copyright acts. And then another specific type of content are the ones who deal with reputation or privacy. Some 3 years ago, some 3-4 years ago, there was this big issue called right to be forgotten. all this issue started in our vocabulary. It was a new right. And this right to be forgotten says that, yes, if you feel that that content that is there, that it's your information, like your personal information or your personal data is on the internet, and you don't like this information because it goes against your reputation, or it's not, or it just happened too many years ago and that's, we don't need to have it there, then something created like right to be forgotten is there to help you to erase that content, to take down that content. That's kind of interpretation. We have a different interpretation. The judge that started all this, I mean, the case that started all this has another different interpretation. So again, those are like a very brief examples of what kind of content will be, regulated, will be decided, and the governments and also the platforms will put rules to decide on those on regulations, on those content, sorry. Yeah, we can go to the next one, please. And why does it matter to us? This is also very important for us, and why? Not just because the first example of the girls in Egypt, but because there are other spaces where our speech and the content that we produce and we publish online are important. And those spaces are, for example, elections, or if we want to protest, if we want to, join with and engage with activities online, and we don't want this content to be taken down. If we are entrepreneurs and we start, doing some promotion of our work online, we don't want our photos taken down, we don't want our videos taken down. So we have an entire life online that this type of regulation, the one that comes from the government, the ones that come from the platform, the ones that come from the two of them working together, affect us. And that's why it's important to us. And it's still more important because those regulations, they don't come clean. They don't come like perfect regulation and you just need to follow them. No. The problem, and that's also again a policy work, is that they come sometimes with problems with legality. They come with problems with lack of information or clarity of why they take this decision, why this content, why not the other content. Sometimes they are very poor. They don't have enough knowledge about the context. There's in some parts of the world, some content is terrible, but in some parts of the world, it's normal. Also, sometimes they don't come with remedies. So what happens if they take down the content that I publish, and then that content was really important for me, and now I need to get some remedy because that damaged, for example, my business, or that damaged my my work on NGO or anything. Sometimes they are not. They are just those. Decisions are just seeking attention from us, and then you have to balance that if it's true or if it's not. When we talk about why this matters, we have to understand the spaces where it matters, so our daily life, and also the problems that are there, and that us as policy people working on policy issues are working harder to make those regulations or make those terms of services, those laws, as clear as possible, as human rights based as possible. And that's the work that we do. Can we go to the next one, please? I really recommend you to check this report. It's kind of long report, but it's really, really great to understand what I was saying, to go deep and dive into the concepts and understand some recommendation that we're giving to the governments and also to the platforms to better, govern the content that is online. And you can find that also in our website. And there we can go to the next one, please. Okay, this is the moment for questions. If there are some questions there, I see that there are some hands raised, and I'm happy to take those questions from Aline or Lucas. I'm happy to take that. Or put the questions there on the write them down the chat.
Hi, can I question
Yes,
before that? Okay.
Perfect.
So thank you for your presentation, and not only for the content moderation part, but also for talking to us about your experience with YouthLACIGF. My question is specifically regarding content moderation, and you mentioned that in co-regulation and the materials and the content that is regulated and moderated is sometimes related to morality or legal perspectives. My question regards how we enable or how we avoid a conservative let's say approach, because for example sometimes there is not even a legislation, so on the government level something is not I don't know, illegal, but it's not as well immoral, but for for particular reasons some social media platforms, just for the sake of a defined morality, block some content. Thinking specifically here of, for example, photos of women breastfeeding, for example, because it shows the nipple, and the Instagram, for example, for a long period of time was blocking all the pictures, and there was even this movement like hashtag free the nipple. And I mean, at least where I am in Brazil, if a woman is breastfeeding in public, is not seen as immoral or illegal. It's just a fact of life because she's feeding her child. So, but in Instagram or Facebook, this is of course moderated. So wouldn't this be, let's say, an expansion of this regulatory capacity from the self-regulation perspective?
Good. That's a good question. I think I will take Aileen Laranjeira question as well, so we can answer both if those both are related.
Yes, I think Lucas has just made my question partly, but what I was going to ask you is really, because here in Brazil, I'm from Brazil, internet is like a political arena. And there are people on Facebook, I see on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, people that say that social media cannot stop or regulate the comments because there is freedom of speech, but sometimes the comments and posts are related to hate speech. How to regulate or to explain to the people the thin line between freedom of speech and hate speech? Access Now has already worked with cases like this.
Okay, good. Yeah, those are very interesting questions. Regarding the first one about breastfeeding, for example, or just showing nipples. Yeah, that's a very great example of how sometimes platforms take too much liberty on deciding what content is undesirable for them. As policy people, as I say, I mean, I work as a policy associate. We have conversations with Facebook and other platforms to let them know that this thing is normal. Like breastfeeding is quite normal for us, at least for Latin America. This isn't quite normal, and for us, there is no problem to see pictures of women, doing this because it's normal. It's not the one. It's one example of many other examples that we can list, and it's important, this example, also because internet is global, and sometimes what they say, I mean, what platforms say is that, okay, I have my terms of services are like a global norm, like a global regulation for my platform. And sometimes it's quite difficult to decide, like here, for 2 or 3 countries, I'm gonna allow this. For those 4 countries, I'm gonna allow the other thing, but I'm gonna deny those countries on this. I'm gonna deny this content on the other ones. And that's why it's very, very important to push in the case of platforms for a more diverse approach on the moment of self-regulating their activities and how people behave on their platforms. At least in the case of Facebook, they have now this a special board that is oversight board that has the power to check some cases. And what we've been working with them and with other civil society members groups, is to look for having a board very diverse that can take decisions thinking about the context where the content has been uploaded. And that's important. It's a very huge very huge work. The second question regarding freedom of expression and hate speech. First of all, as I said at the beginning, not at the beginning, but at the middle of the presentation, like freedom of expression, as we know it, like as a human right, is the same as freedom of expression online. Or at least for us that live in the Americas continent, we have the Inter-American Inter-American system of human rights. And according to our system, hate speech is not protected by freedom of expression. That means that countries, or in this case, states, and the regulation that they will promote or draft should have a special decisions or regulation for how to handle hate speech, because hate speech is something that attacks directly to certain types of population, and at least those laws needs to be very well shaped, very well designed, because sometimes if the definition of hate speech is not well shaped, then you can get moments of arbitrary decisions and things like that. And those laws of, for example, on the case of hate speech, should understand due process, should take into account why this content is not good, why we need in the case if there is a need for remedies, why we need them, why we need due process. It should be very, very, very well shaped laws. I know that sometimes we call hate speech to any idea that is flowing around, and I'm sorry. Okay, sometimes there's just any idea that is flowing around and we say, yes, that's hate speech. But we need to understand the concept of hate speech and apply the rules that are for that specific issue. What happens in countries where there is a lot of things going on, and especially when we are very close to elections, is that we see many content, a lot of misinformation happenings, and sometimes those misinformation are also understood as hate speech, which is not the case. So I really call for having a more defined definitions and more defined laws. We as Access Now have been working on this specific topic. I work on the specific topic of hate speech in Honduras. There was a bill also trying to regulate speech in a very broad sense and online. And for example, in the case of Honduras, the definitions were not clear at all. And that was like the big, for us, like the big flag, like big red flag saying, hey, let's talk about this before it becomes a law. And yeah, we can take this further. I left my my email there. If you have like further questions, if you want to continue this conversation later, I'm very keen to answer and continue and chat more. That's all, and thank you. I think I'm over time. I think it's over, right?
We have a few minutes, but since it has been a very long day, we are going to, after you make your inputs, if we have any people from the audience, we are going to make a quick wrap up of the whole day. So first of all, we had the keynote of YTIC, the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, when we presented what is a youth coalition, what we have been doing during this year, what is coming up. Also, we had a session led by Gustavo Paiva on online education, where we created a collaborative doc in a style of community lab, where we discuss about the challenges for education and for educators, also for parents, and the problems we need to fix because of the digital divide. Then we had the debate of online democracies led by João Moreno Falcao, where he and his team discuss about the situation in Brazil and how they want to approach this idea of online democracies for the future. Also, we have the session on privacy data and cybersecurity, taking into account the Central American context, where the team, Abdiya Zambrano, Katia Tulcio, and Cristina Morales shared their experience on the laws on data privacy of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. And finally, the keynote by Verónica, which we are really grateful for having you here, especially because you all started this beautiful idea of the Youth Observatory. You have been a great part, and also about the event, the YouthLACIGF, that we are participating today. Yeah. So, well, that's the whole wrap up. Unless you want to say something else, I think we can close now.
Well, I'm really happy, and I have to congratulate you all for this amazing work. I've seen all this structure of having dedicated channels for specific languages. This is amazing. I think that it's a huge step. What we had 4 years ago, I mean, 2016, it's nothing compared to what we're having right now. We were having very basic discussions, and now I see that questions, at least the questions that I got in on the question and answer part, are really deep questions, and we see a progress on the discussions. We see more participants. We see that this is good, and I have to congratulate all the team that is behind this event, and also obviously you, because you're leading this. I'm very happy.
Thank you very much. Oh, I also have to mention that you have been a really good part helping us with the selection of the session and the workshops. So we are really helpful, really grateful. Sorry, it has been a very long day for everything. Okay, so unless anyone wants to say something else, also I want to thank Augusto Marturini. He has been helping us with the moderation. Have a good Saturday, and see you tomorrow for more sessions in Portuguese and Spanish. Bye-bye.